So the first thing is you want to organize the sharing. Um, so sitting in a circle and letting one person talk at a time is really important. Something that's great that you can use that I always had used in my groups when I was a camper was a talking stick or talking prop of some kind. Um, so if you have something special that you want to bring to camp that you might think about, like maybe the kids would like to use for your talking prop, that can be fun. I've got a little stuffed animal M&M that I'm gonna bring that can be an option. So it's just something that the kids know, whoever's holding the talking stick, that's who's getting to talk right now. You'll have the little interruptions every once in a while, and just they'll be like, "Oh, hey, I've done that too," or things like that, and that's totally fine, of course. Also, it's important to, you know, like sometimes it's good to get kind of what questions the kids might want to ask from the campers. Um, you don't want to only do things that you as counselors have talked about, but it's good to get some input from the kids. Um, if one camper is maybe dominating the conversation and you're kind of running out of time, you kind of want to gently, say, "Hey, I haven't heard from this person yet," or like can just kind of move the conversation along. And also, you want to make sure you're not dominating the conversation as well. Kind of always during camp, you want to make sure that you're just always camper centered. You're always thinking, how can I help them and how can I support them the best as possible, of course. A super, super important thing with cabin chat is not everyone has to share. So if they don't want to share, of course they don't have to. You can just kind of do the rule that they can just pass the talking stick to the next person if they don't want to say anything, or just kind of whatever. You as a counselor, you don't always have to share, but just keep in mind, especially at the beginning of camp, it's important to share because then it makes the kids more comfortable with you and they feel more comfortable opening up. And it's really good for you as well to open up and just kind of talk with everybody. But there's definitely things that you should stay away from talking about. And we'll kind of touch on that a little bit in a couple minutes probably. So, I'm going to go over a couple of things it has in my handout thing on what's some tips on cabin chat. You need to remember the goal. We're not doing group therapy at Kesem. Cabin chat is to kind of provide a supportive environment that people can talk, but it's not group therapy. We're not therapists. Even the mental health professional isn't supposed to be providing therapy at camp. So that is one of the number one things that we need to keep in mind. It's also really handy to let your time constraints be known. Let the kids know how long we have for cabin chat. You want to make sure that all of them have time to share. Like we said, they don't have to share, but you want to make sure that they have time, that we're not discluding anybody, leaving anybody out. So if you have a sign to let them or the other counselors know, we're running out of time, peace sign means we have 2 minutes left, something like that. You can have fun with it and have the kids come up with something or whatever, so that that things are needing to be wrapped up. So that is handy. Okay, so here it is. You don't want to talk about, suicide ideation, past abuse, anything like that. A lot of common sense comes into play. Don't be talking about self-harm, things like that. And we'll talk about what you should do if a kid brings something like that up in a sec. So just an important thing is you're just remembering that you're not getting anything off your chest. That's not the point of it. The point of it is you sharing is to be a role model to the kids. So this is not supposed to be just like super therapeutic for you. It's really, again, camper centered. So always keeping that in mind is important.